college, church, Bible study, Bible college, retreats, um, church conferences, um, the list, etc. What do those things have in common? Um, well, those things are usually areas where you get told that you're not supposed to be, you know, focusing on finding a relationship. You're supposed to focus on either school, like your degree, or, you know, you're supposed to have your eyes focused on God, not finding a relationship. Well, yeah, you're supposed to have your eyes focused on the Lord, but just because you are trying to find a relationship, that does not mean that your eyes are not fixed on, your degree or, fixed on the Lord. And here's why that is, a whole bunch of cow pie, a religious cow pie that they, teach, that they say that you're supposed to be focused on the Lord in those times, even in, Sunday service. Well, we're supposed to focus on worship. We're not supposed to, focus on, you know, um, a relationship. Um, and so, and you can even throw in intern, right? Or possibly maybe even your job. Um, and that's the recurring theme that I hear is this religious, and I'm going to tell you why it's a religious cow flop here in a second, but it's a religious cow flop. It's literally a made up rule that the church, that the body of Christ has literally made up and started to believe. How do I know this? I know this because there's something else that those places have in common. And it's hilarious because all of those places, the other thing that they have in common is that's typically where spouses meet. Spouses meet at a church. They meet in, uh, and believe me, I have heard stories of spouses meeting at college, meeting at a Bible study, meeting at a worship service, meeting at a Bible study, meeting at a church camp, or meeting at, the list goes on, meeting at on a mission trip, um, or meeting um, when they were interns for a missionary. Um, so it's actually unique how the church, how the body of Christ, um, says that you're supposed to have your eyes focused on the Lord, in those times. And then anybody that, um would be searching for a spouse during those moments, they immediately, say, well, you need to get your eyes fixed on the Lord, as if they don't. You know what? And so that's why I know that that's a whole bunch of religious cow flop, and that rule, that law, is a made up law, just made up from religious people that want you, you know, it just, they would be the ones getting in the way, like, and they're going to be the ones that are going to be mad at me for, you know, teaching this, but it is a lot of religious cow pie, um, cow dung, and because that's typically where spouses meet, and that's where you would want to meet if you were searching for a spouse. I mean, typically, other than, college, like college, I know it's not, um, there's some biblical colleges, but like colleges, there's a lot of colleges that aren't, like so-called like Christian colleges. But other than that, all these other places, that's kind of where you should want to find your spouse. And there's a lot of stories out there where that's where they have found their spouse. Not always, but that's pretty much the recurring theme here, is that there's many that have found their spouse either in a worship service or in college, and just places where they say you need to be focused on X, Y, and Z. And, like, it's kind of funny how those are the places where people find their spouse. So there's another, thought of the day.